Hello, welcome. I am Tony Ingram. This is Walk in the Park, episode number 113, recorded on August 26, 2015. And today we're going to do a number of different things. The first thing we're going to do is go to 6 Mile Creek Natural Area, do some aesthetic stuff down there by the stream. And I got a little video to show you here. So let's go to 6 Mile Creek in the city of Ithaca. 6 Mile Creek Natural Area. Be right there in a second here. Bring that up. Okay, so that's part, as you can tell, of my Park Minute series, which is just a minute long, more or less. And so sometimes we have them run independently, but I try to do them fairly often. This is Walk in the Park, walkinpark.com. You can go to my website, walkinpark.com, and see all of our episodes and all of our short pieces and so forth. Now we're going to go to Buttermilk Falls State Park in Ithaca. Go up to Upper Buttermilk, and there was a couple of weeks ago recorded a few songs with two friends of mine, Will Fudeman and Susan Lytle, who are singer-songwriters, local in the area, and they wanted me to record these for them so they can use them. And so we're going to listen to one of Susan Lytle's songs, Breakdown it's called. So let's go to Upper Buttermilk Falls State Park picnic area at Lake Treman for Breakdown. Coming right up here.
Every now and then I could break down and cry. Every now and then break down and cry. Every now and then I could break down and cry. Every now and then I could break down and cry. Every now and then I could break down and cry. These walls, they might get shaken. Oh, lead me to the rock that is higher than high. Lead me to the rock higher than high. Lead me to the rock that is higher than high. These walls, they might get shake, 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 and lead me to the rock that is higher than high. Lead me to the rock higher and higher. Lead me to the rock that is higher than high. I will take refuge in the rock. Tell it to your sister. Sit down and rest. Tell it to your sister. Sit down and rest. I know you're weary. Rest a while. Every now and then I could break down. Every now and then. Every now and then. Oh, oh, hey, hey, yeah. Oh, lead me to the rock that is higher than high. Lead me to the rock higher and higher. Lead me to the rock that is higher than high. I will take refuge in the rock. I will take refuge in the rock. I will take refuge in the rock.
Pretty nice. Everybody knows Ithaca Falls. At least everybody in Ithaca knows where Ithaca Falls. I took some out-of-town friends there this weekend, this last Saturday, and we actually were touring many of the waterfalls in the area. Buttermilk Falls and Lucifer Falls and Treeman, Teganic Falls, and we ended up at Ithaca Falls. Now, Ithaca Falls, one of the best times to see it is at the end of the day when the sun is near setting. The late afternoon pours into the gorge. So I have a little glimpse of nature here showing that very moment. So let's take a look at Glimpse 25. That's pretty short. It's just a glimpse. So I pumped those out. Well, in the news, of course, has been the terrible fires in the western U.S. We've been wet this summer. They've been extremely dry, and they're burning right up. And so I have a little bit about that. They're not talking much about it, but it's really a function, I think, of climate change. This is predicted. We'll have terrible droughts and terrible floods, dry, hot conditions that are going to burn up our forests. And in fact, one of the longer-term predictions is that the Amazon forest in South America, one of the biggest carbon sinks on the planet, will dry up and burn up and will be in sort of irretrievable trouble at that point. So I have this video from short video of from, let's see, that's going to be what national park? Sequoia Kings Canyon National Park here. Here's a modern version of the old-time Bucket Brigade making progress on the Rough Fire, which is now 7% contained when that was a few days ago. I don't know what the status is now. But the Rough Fire, let's take a look at a little video clip of this sky crane, they call it. So that made 2 drops, and I guess it had enough water in it for 2 drops. So this machine is called S64 Sikorsky Sky Crane. Another company makes it now, so it's now called also an air crane. But I guess you can actually pick stuff up with it, but it also can carry tanks of water, and that's what this one was doing. So very interesting, but also it's a sign of the times. We have those parks, Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks in the southern Nevada, Sierra Nevada mountains. It's in Southern California. So they're burning up. Well, here's a picture this is from Glacier National Park in northern Montana, August 23rd. And the skies have cleared up enough for the moon to put a nice show tonight, but there is still enough smoke for the moon to look a little pinkish orange. So, of course, in the northwest, they're having terrible fires as well. So now we're going to go to a park in New York, actually a park in the Finger Lakes Park region. It's Ganondagan State Historic Site. Now, this is a map of the original peoples, the pre-European peoples of what's now New York State, the Iroquois, or Haudenosaunee, as they call themselves. And Ganondagan, which is in Victor, New York, near Canandaigua, southeast of Rochester, is an interesting, important site. This is a 17th century, a full-scale replica of a 17th century longhouse that an extended family under the authority of a clan mother would have lived in, and they have artifacts inside, reproductions made by native people to show what life was like at that time. But Ganondagan is a really interesting place to visit. They have a festival, a Native American festival of music and dance at the end of July every year, so they had it last month. And they bring people from all over the world, native peoples, indigenous peoples. This is, I think, a dance troupe from Bolivia a few years ago. So they not only talk about the past, but the present and the future of native peoples and people in general in our world. They care very much about, of course, the health of our planet. And they also shared a video on their Facebook page, a link to it, which is very powerful, and it comes from this group, Indian Country Today Media Network, and it's of a fellow young man who, let me see, get the information on him, see if I can pronounce his name, Xiuhtezcatl Roske-Martinez, who was raised in the Aztec tradition, spoke earnestly to the United Nations General Assembly June 29th, challenging the representatives to make great decisions and take immediate action on climate change. So rather than reading any more of that, I'm going to get right into it here, and we'll see his speech. Hear his speech.
Shall now hear a statement by Xiuhtezcatl Martinez, representative of civil society.
Xiuhtezcatl tonantzin cuautlicue, Xiuhtezcatl atl, Xiuhtezcatl tatatonatium. Cualitlanesi, buenos días. Good morning, everybody. My name is Xiuhtezcatl. I'm very, very honored to be here today. I think it's amazing to look around the world and see almost 200 countries represented here today, because it's really going to take united action from all of us in order to make a difference. I'm 15 years old, and I'm the youth director of an organization called Earth Guardians, and I'm working with young people around the planet to protect our earth, our air, our water, and our atmosphere for my generation and those to follow. I stand before you today representing my entire generation, as well as generations unborn. I stand before you representing the indigenous peoples of this earth and those that will inherit the effects of our climate crisis that we face today as a global community. My father raised me in the Mexica tradition. I learned from my father that all life is sacred. He showed me that every living thing is connected because we all draw life from the same earth and we all drink from the same waters. I was raised in the ceremonies of my people, learning the dances, the songs, and the language that was passed on to me by my people, by my ancestors. And what I learned from my cultural heritage is that this life is a gift. And it is our responsibility to respect and protect that which gives us life. So I began to look at the world around me and begin to learn about the issues that we are facing. And I saw that we were facing a crisis that was beginning to affect every living system on our planet. I saw that climate change was going to be the defining issue of our time. Seeing this world, seeing my world collapsing around me, pushed me into action. So for the last 9 years, since I was 6 years old, I've been on the front lines of climate and environmental movements, standing up to fight for my future and for our planet. What a lot of people fail to see or simply ignore is that climate change isn't an issue that is far off in the future. It isn't solely affecting the ice caps and the poles or the sea level rise in our oceans. It's affecting us right here, right now, and will only continue to get worse. In a 3-month period, my family and I, we witnessed the greatest wildfires and the worst floods we've ever seen in Colorado history. Frequency and severity of massive storms and massive floods, massive superstorms are increasing all over the planet because of our lack of action and because of the increase in carbon dioxide emissions, because of the way that we are living. And because of this, young people are standing up all over the planet because we see that climate change is a human rights issue. It is affecting especially developing countries, women, children, and people of color more than anything else. We have to realize that what is at stake is no longer just the planet, is no longer just the environment, but what's at stake right now is the existence of my generation. What is at stake right now, what we are fighting to protect, what is in your hands, what is in our hands today, is the survival of this generation and the continuation of the human race. That is what is at stake. So youth are standing up all over the planet to find solutions to the issues that will be left to my generation. Earth Guardian crews are starting up all over the planet, and youth are using their passions to address some of the greatest issues of our time by planting seeds of solutions that can change the world. Over 400,000 people marched through the streets of New York City in the greatest climate march in the history of the world. More than 220 institutions have divested from fossil fuels with the help of student-led movements. And that number continues to grow. Youth like myself across the United States are suing our state and federal governments, demanding them to take action on climate change immediately. We are flooding the streets and we are now flooding the courts to show the world that there is a movement on the rise and that our generation is at the front of that movement, fighting for the solutions that we need, and we need you to help us. We are approaching 21 years of United Nations climate talks, and in the last 20 years of negotiations, almost no agreements have been made on a bonding climate recovery plan. Our window of opportunity to take action is shrinking as the problem exponentially increases. We need you to take action at COP21 before it's too late. Because as I said, what's at stake right now is the future of your children, my children, our grandchildren. When we look into our eyes, we see the next generation. And we see that that is the planet that we are leaving to them. We look at the world and we see the planet that we will leave to our generation. So don't be afraid to dream big. Because not only is it possible to get off of fossil fuels, but it is already happening. Cities and countries around the planet are committing to go 100% renewable in the first half of the century. The Pope himself called for a shift from fossil fuels to renewable energy. The solutions are here, and with them are coming millions of jobs and economic opportunities. Imagine if we took all the money that we are pouring into the fossil fuel industry and into the nuclear industry and put that into renewables. Imagine what we could accomplish. Phasing out fossil fuels is a dream that is slowly becoming a reality. And the question is, will it happen fast enough to avoid further climate catastrophe? It's time to look to the skies for the solutions that we need. Because the future of energy is no longer down a hole. We need to reconnect with the earth, and end this mindset that we have that we can take whatever we want without ever giving back or understanding the harm that we are doing to the planet. It's this mindset of destruction, of greed, that is tearing apart our planet. We need to change the fundamental beliefs of our entire society. We have to remember that we are all indigenous to this earth and that we are all connected. Every generation leaves a mark on this planet. We leave something behind to be remembered by, and we are at a tipping point right now where we will either be remembered as a generation that destroyed the planet, as a generation that put profits before future, or as a generation that united to address the greatest issue of our time by changing our relationship with the earth. We are being called upon to use our courage, our innovation, our creativity, and our passion to bring forth a new world. So in the light of this collapsing world that we see, what better time to be born than now? What better time to be alive than now? Because this generation, the people in this room right here, we get to change the course of history. Humans have created the greatest crisis that we see on the planet. And the greater the challenge, the higher we will rise to overcome it. We need you to stand with us. Never before has there been such a unifying issue as climate change. And it is time now to set aside everything that divides us, everything that separates us, everything that makes us want to point a finger at someone else and throw the problem to them. Who will stand with me now for mine and future generations to inherit a healthy, just, and sustainable planet? Who will stand with me now? The hope of this planet, of this generation, is in our hands. I don't want you to stand up for us. I want you to stand up with us. Because together we can change the world. And it's not going to be easy, but it is our responsibility. We owe it to future generations to be the leaders of today so that they can have a tomorrow. Thank you.
That's the third time this young activist has spoken to the UN. He's only 15 years old. He also spoke to them when he was 13 and when he was 11. So he's a pretty incredible young man. I just want to read a comment that was on the article that came with this video that online by a woman named Lynn, who wrote, "What an eloquent and courageous young man. We are lucky to have him speaking up for the planet and her people. Not impressed with the idiots behind him who should have been more respectful listeners. Wishing him all the best in his life ahead." And I think we need to join him in every way that we can. And I don't want to sound silly, but in a sense, we perhaps should also remember the most famous Bears quote: "Only you can prevent forest fires. Only we can prevent our planet from burning up." So Ganondagan State Historic Site in Victor, New York. I don't have the spelling out in front of you. Should have put that up, but anyway, look it up. GANONDAGAN.org. Ganondagan State Historic Site is going to have a new visitor center open this October. I think it's October 25th. There's planning to have it open. Anyway, this has been a building for a long time. The site first opened in 1987, and it represents a Seneca village of about 4,500 people that lived there in 200 years earlier. Okay, so running out of time here. I'm going to just give us a little amazing little video here, very short one, about 30 seconds, by a local Ithacan, Joe Scaglione III. He has done a 30-second time-lapse video of the sunrise over Ithaca from Cass Park in downtown Ithaca. So let's see if I can find that. Yeah, here we go. It's pretty amazing. Want me to do it again? Let's see if I got time to do it again here. Actually, I probably don't. So I think that's about all the time we have here. I will finish off with Mist over Red House Lake at Allegheny State Park here as we bring up the final parting video here. Thank you very much for joining me at Walk in the Park.